So we're here in Kilorglin.
Coming up in this episode, Chip plays security guard, Kim takes flying lessons, and I try my first ever coffee that happens to be an Irish one.
Going over a large river. I think they said it was the River Larn. I think I noticed on the sign at the side of the road. Hello, Chip. You watching where we're going? You're in a backseat driver. Kilorglin and Tralee. The land's just levelled out in front of us. Tralee. I think it looks like we're going around on a ring road, perhaps. I think that's more blurry. Yeah, following the all other routes bit.
Morning from the banks of the River Shannon. It's a lovely morning this morning on a very nice park up with beautiful sunshine. Considering it's the 6th of November, what a glorious sunny day, and it's warm. And there's our little Chip. Let's go and say hello to Chip. Hello, mate. Hello. What we doing today then, Chippy? Hey? What we doing today? What do you want to do?
So we're setting off from, where are we? Foynes.
Foynes.
Beside the busy port. And we've got quite a long drive ahead of us, so stay tuned. We'll just film for a little while through here. Squealy belt.
Yeah, she's only just woken up this morning.
Not me, I've been up ages.
No, the van. He, Victor, the van.
Maybe you want to change the name to Victoria.
Yeah.
So we'll go this way.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
well,
a bit disturbing. Look, there's a slipway literally just off the side of the road. If you got that one, that could be a bit of a disaster. There's a Shannon Port building on my right.
And an anchor.
On the left.
And the port on the left.
Oh, look at this strange building on the right. Looks like the tail of a plane. In fact, it is the tail of a plane.
It is, yeah.
I think this warrants some investigation, don't you?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, let's go and have a look.
And there's another tail of a plane up the top there, look. Foynes Flying Boat Museum. Hello, Chip. You're going to be alright here for a little while.
For the North Atlantic was one of the last frontiers to be conquered by the early aviators. from the most westerly tip of Newfoundland to the nearest landfall on the west coast of Ireland, was a distance of almost 2,000 miles. Lindbergh had flown this vast stretch of islandless waters with its constantly changing weather conditions in a plane primitive by today's standards. So it was that 6 years after his famous flight, Lindbergh took off on a 21,000-mile pathfinding mission in search of commercial air routes for Pan Am. In October 1933, in the course of that odyssey, he flew along the southern and western coast of Ireland. That majestic coast now stood out as the finishing line for the race to set up the first air passenger service across the North Atlantic. In the years that followed, engineers from the Office of Public Works, in consultation with Pan Am, carried out surveys on a number of possible locations. Eventually, in October 1936, they announced their decision. The site of Ireland's transatlantic airport would be on one of the country's great landmarks, Ireland's longest river, the Shannon. At Renana in County Clare, a proud marshland at the head of the estuary, well sheltered from the Atlantic rollers, a combined sea and land plane base would be built. A temporary base had to be found. The surveyors settled on the port of Foynes across the estuary from Renana. Though never intended to be a permanent choice, Foynes became the stage for Ireland's brief, exciting involvement with the era of the flying boat. The S-42B was a plane that had already proved its reliability on Pan Am's South American and Pacific passenger services. Meanwhile, British Imperial Airways, who had signed an agreement with Pan Am to divide the Atlantic service between them, was pinning its hopes on a new generation of long-range airplanes, the short S-23C class flying boat. Equal to the Americans at the initial trial flight stage, began to face increasing difficulties in the search for an airplane with the fuel efficiency to carry passengers on the long haul over the North Atlantic.
This is a new sensation on the world. The composite plane which splits in the air. There's a slight mist on the midway, but grand conditions up above. On the day when the short mail people carry out their promise to repeat for press and newsreel the experiment which they successfully achieved in secret a fortnight earlier. So sit back and watch the amazing phenomenon and enjoy the suspense of waiting for it. All over in a few seconds. Fewer in fact than it took to see it, for that was slow motion taken by Jack Cotton. Aerodynamics separate the planes after the levers have been released, and the lower machine mire dips and sweeps downward to the river. But what happens to Mercury? Listen to the triumphant sound of the engines as they roar past.
Were trained on yet another possible solution.
And our cameraman at the tail of the flying boat gets an amazing shot of the nozzle of the pipeline coming down towards him. A few seconds later, the petrol begins to flow. Absolute safety is assured, for if the planes were forced apart, the pipeline would automatically break away. Here is a new wonder of commercial aviation, filling up with petrol while roaring through the sky.
On the 5th of August 1939, the Caribou flew onto Newfoundland after being refueled over the Shannon. Pan American, on the other hand, had already conquered the largest ocean of all, the Pacific. In 1935, they inaugurated a service from San Francisco to Hong Kong via the islands of Hawaii, Midway, Wake, Guam, and the Philippines. It was the biggest commercial flying boat ever built, the Boeing 314.
Passengers and crew of the Yankee Clipper, the takeoff of a 42-ton flying boat. the world's biggest air transport. The control room is a fantasy of mechanism where the flight engineer's job is intricate. Spectacular view of Manhattan, though this is no sightseeing trip. It's a shakedown flight in preparation for transatlantic service. Yet that's a sight to see.
The Americans were understandably proud of this new giant of flight, seeing in it yet another symbol of their world leadership in technology. When the Yankee Clipper touched down at Foynes for the first time on the 28th of June 1939, it brought with it the prospect of a transatlantic air service operating through Ireland. Within a month of the war's outbreak, all civilian traffic through Foynes had ceased. The last Pan Am flight left on the 5th of October, taking with it all those optimistic prospects of only a few months before. Declaring neutrality in the war, Ireland braced itself for self-defense and isolation. It was a neutrality, however, which, as the war wore on, came to be increasingly strained in favour of the Allied cause. Nowhere was this more dramatically illustrated than at Foynes. Though 1940 and 41 were quiet years on the Shannon, 1942 and 3, all of it British and American, as the push against the Axis powers intensified. So, having shed their bright silver body colour and orange wing markings for the drab greens of camouflage, the Clippers came back to Foynes to take up moorings on the Shannon beside Catalina's and Sunderland. In keeping with the terms of Irish neutrality, all these planes were civilian and unarmed. But as they crossed the ocean, they kept an eye out for German U-boats and reported their movements. And when they landed at Foynes, among the passengers was a high number of Allied military and diplomatic personnel. Though neutral, the Shannon Airport had become a vital link in the line of communication between America and her European allies. The last flight in October 1945 was captured on an Irish press documentary. The brief, adventurous era of the flying boat at Foynes was all but over, and the enduring role of Shannon International Airport as Ireland's gateway to the Atlantic just beginning.
I'm sure most of the people that were on the listening flight are doing the same.
I think so. The man beside me, he was Jewish. He was going to New York and then to family in Chicago.
They seem to be getting the brunt of it.
Yes. He said he was very afraid for his people. He didn't say much after that. He just stepped out and I left him to his own thoughts.
Well, we can only pray for all and systems.
Yes.
So destinations from Foynes, Newfoundland. The Guardian.
Someone described the city as being like that in the movie, Casablanca, multiplied by 20. I can hardly tell you its name. As you'd expect.
Poole in England.
You hear there's all sorts out there.
Well, yes. From royalty to artists to the man beside me, he was Jewish.
Excuse the angle, but this is really high up. From 1937 to 1945. So Maureen O'Hara is Irish, born in Dublin. In 1920 became a world famous film star with 59 movies to her credit. I've never seen one of them. I don't think. And she married Captain Charles Blair, who flew the last flight out of Foynes. And when she died in 2016, the family gave all her belongings basically to the museum. So there's a part of this museum, she was a patron of it, part of this museum especially about her.
This is the wreckage from a Sunderland flying boat. So there's a nose cone and what looks like a rotary engine, which crashed on the 28th of July 1943 at 1,550 feet when they believed they were over open ocean. Radio control room, I guess. Well, you can't come to a flying museum and not have a go. So, Kim's here in the driving seat.
Okay, let's see how spectacularly we can crash.
Yeah.
Right, so
Give it a go.
That's my speed one there. I have managed to do this once. I've crashed once as well. Right, it's heading for land, which I don't like. But if I turn it, isn't that going to slow it down?
Probably.
Turn a little bit. Speed's creeping up. What am I doing, Millie? I'm terrified. It's a bloody simulator and I'm terrified. It's crazy. Right, I think we're about 8. There we are. Pull back. Pull the 8 back gently. Are we up? Are we up? Are we up? Come on. He's coming back. These sort of things before, these funny films. Yankee Clipper crashed. I think this one's a replica of it. Wonder what that. I think that's new thing.
And the kitchen, I think.
See, it's more spacious than a modern aircraft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Love the little blinds.
Yeah.
How comfy are the seats then? So this is inside a replica of the Yankee Clipper,
Yes.
which I think was the only one that crashed and killed a few people, including that Captain Blythe, was he called?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave Jan sitting here because he can't manage these steps. I'm going to have a look up here and see what is up here. Handy little handle. Oh, this must be flight headquarters. Yes, look at this. That's pilot and co-pilot, I guess. Is that a view up the Shannon? Pretty basic. Foynes Harbour. I don't think it's picking this up on the camera. Surveyed by Staff Commander J.H. Kurt, 1877. Wow. Water depths. What's this one then? High pressure, low pressure. Guess that's one that's changed on a daily basis. Escape hatch. Seats. Oh, what's in the back? Looks like luggage. Yes. Oh look, there's a case there that looks like one I've got down there. I'm just going to walk through from the nose of the plane. And the seating changes. So is this posher seating? It looks like it. Tablecloths. Yeah, I reckon that's economy where Jan is. And this is going up a grade. Oh, but then it goes back to this again. Perhaps not. Perhaps that's just the dining area. I'm loving that these seat belts, single seat belt, double seat, one big seat belt. Oh, beds. Wow. Is that all the beds there are on this? And up again. What's in here? This is a little plusher than the other little bathroom that we looked in. There's a toilet. It's got stools. Look. Mirrors. Little wash basin. Then can we go in here? Guess not. What's in this one then? Don't know if the camera's picking this up very well. Then there's another little toilet there. And a ladder up to a hatch. You'll have to excuse any road noise from outside, but this bit is actually outside and I took some photos this morning of the tail section you can see from the road. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be. It's a replica of one built from the plans. There's one of the floats. I wonder if I can. That was the posh cabin. Look at that tail section there, one side of it. So when I walked up, you're kind of walking on the bottom because you follow the ramp up, up, up as you come through it. There we go. There's a bar. Take a seat and enjoy the champagne. Got a seat. momentous occasion for anyone who knows Jan. He hates coffee, but he's drinking an Irish coffee. And how is it, Jan?
Very nice.
Very nice. Did I hear the words very nice with coffee?
That's nice.
Crikey.
It's got alcohol in it though, so I don't.
Crikey. I'm astounded. There we go. So he will drink coffee. And there's Chip, sitting in the driver's seat.
So this is our drive from Foynes on the N69 heading north to Limerick.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine.